We've hit the big 50. This is our 50th episode. Why did we start the Jesus People Sisterhood podcast? What are our favorite episodes? Join us as we reflect on the past year and thoughts on where we're heading. Welcome to the Jesus People Sisterhood podcast, a place where Christian single women aged 50 plus connect. I am your host, Janine Jordan, a Christian confidence coach and leadership mentor in Alberta, Canada.
And I'm your co-host, Ellie McCormick, a Christian longevity coach and mentor in the USA. Being single women over 50, we know what it's like to feel overlooked, to have unrealized dreams, to experience the challenges of singlehood, and to be concerned about what our future will look like. We couldn't find anything online for single Christian women over 50, so we created Jesus People Sisterhood just for you, a place where sisters encourage and empower one another through the last third of life, because you are a treasure trove of wisdom and of exceedingly great value. This is an authentic community, a supportive family, with other women on the same journey where Jesus is the center of it all. Here you will find real talk, real community, and real sisters.
Join us as we discuss building relationships, whole health, and growing spiritually. We'll review helpful books and articles, chat with guest speakers, share success stories, and have some laughs along the way. So grab your favorite beverage and we'll get started. Welcome, sisters, to this episode of the Jesus People Sisterhood podcast, the only podcast specifically for single Christian women over 50. Today, we give a shout out to our sisters in Taiwan. Thank you for listening. It's a blessing to provide this podcast for free, but it does cost us to produce Jesus People Sisterhood episodes. It would be a great blessing to us that if you decide to buy a book mentioned in this podcast, you purchase it through the link in our episode show notes.
Today, we are celebrating the 50th episode of the Jesus People Sisterhood podcast. We praise and thank the Lord for making it to 50 episodes and using the podcast to reach and encourage single Christian women around the world. In this 50th episode, as we approach a year of producing this podcast, we want to reflect on the purpose of the podcast, what we've learned and enjoyed, and what we see for the future.
Ellie and I will be sharing our thoughts on the podcast by answering some questions. Here's the first one. Why did we start the podcast?
Well, I will say we started it because we had a heart for single Christian women over 50, because we both are. If you go to listen to our very first episode, we talk about that. But I think there was things that we wanted to elaborate on in this episode as far as our vision and our mission and our purpose. Because we look at single Christian women over 50 as these treasure troves of wisdom who are untapped, who are overlooked, and the body is suffering from that. All these things we've probably mentioned in different episodes. Our purpose is to wake up all you sisters and realize that you're in the last third of your life. You have a calling. If you don't know what it is, to help you find it, to shake off any complacency, and to realize that God is calling you. He has a reason that you're alive and you're running out of time. And so we really want to encourage you to be serving the Lord to the fullest, to whatever your unique giftings are in the time that you have. The purpose, or one of the purposes of the podcast, is to encourage all of our sisters and to provide information and practical steps and strategies to find healing and friendship, to strengthen your walk with God, and enrich the lives of other single Christian women over 50.
Right. I'd have to agree with you, Ellie. You pretty much said it all. I think that everything that you say is true, and that is exactly what the podcast is intended for. But I guess we could also add that the purpose also is for us to unite single Christian women in community. The need for fellowship and encouragement is prevalent in our society today, and we need each other. We need to be gathering together and to encourage each other. It's not an easy life sometimes when we're on our own, and we need to combat that loneliness and encourage each other with all that is going on in our world today, and just to uphold each other and to correct each other and to drive each other on to whatever the Lord would have us do.
Yeah, because God made us to live in community and
Right?
we really need each other. And we're so much better together.
Right.
This life is hard and it is difficult. So many of us, we are needing healing. We
Mhm.
have all kinds of needs, financial, emotional, physical, that being in community, we can help one another and we can meet those needs.
Right.
The other idea is that we are supposed to be blessing the body with our gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we're in these situations where because we have so many needs, or we haven't healed, or we don't even have time to reflect or haven't reflected on our life of what we should be doing. We don't even know what we like, right? Or we don't know what our calling is that in community, it can help us to find those things, to find healing and to be doing what we're supposed to be doing and serving others. One of the things that Janine and I were talking about is we are thinking of each of us giving our testimony in a upcoming episode. As I was thinking back on my life, I was thinking all the different things that I've been through is that I didn't have the wisdom then that I have now
Right.
to
Yep.
to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And in
Yep.
one sense, I believe that's how God planned it for my life because I learned through it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think, gosh, wouldn't it have been wonderful to have had an older woman with the wisdom
Right.
for what I was going through at that time to share that wisdom with me?
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't see that happening, or at least not very often.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, again, one of the main encouragements for our sisters is that you're needed. The body of believers need you. Younger women, especially, need you for all the different things that they're going through in their life, that you have the wisdom to guide them through or to help them, to give them advice and counsel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Despite the fact that many people think that people that older women, single women that are on their own, that perhaps they don't have that. They don't have as much to offer. That's just an untruth, and it's something that we want to combat. You have been through what you've been through, and that was a journey that the Lord took you through with the choice, some choices you made, and some choices perhaps that you didn't. And so, all of the things that you've gleaned through your life and all of the wisdom that you've developed should be shared. We should be sharing
Right.
that with each
That's
other,
the point.
right?
That's
Yeah.
why we're here.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the encouragement that we've done all along is to be reaching out to your sisters, to be
Mhm.
uniting,
Mhm.
to be starting groups, and we'll say a little bit more on that a little bit. Hopefully that's clear.
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully
Mhm.
that the podcast episodes we've done have been helpful in giving you information and encouraging you in all those things. So, second question.
Mm.
What are some things you've enjoyed learning from the episodes?
Well, I think we had quite a lot of diversity in the episodes, and there was everything from health to relationships to finances to one thing that I found really, really interesting was that we did some episodes on dating, and they seem to be quite popular. finding a mate. And then there was the other side that was like this intentional singleness. So there was something that gave us some things to think of in that way too. And I like that idea of having different viewpoints, different things out there for us to think about, for us to really reflect on. And those were kind of interesting. I think that we also had some things like the one on minimalism. That's interesting. Taking time to declutter and some of the health ones, some of the dealing with trauma, dealing with the things that you need healing for. I found each one had a little gem of something that we could take away, and hopefully you did as well. Yeah, that's what made it so interesting was the diversity of the guests and the diversity of the topics, I think.
Right. Because
Mm,
a lot of the episodes, even if we didn't have a guest who was sharing something new for us, we
right.
had to research.
Right.
We had to research
Exactly.
the topic, and so yeah, so we learned a lot. That
Yeah.
was
So what about you, Ellie? What were some things you enjoyed learning from the episodes?
Oh gosh, there's just so much because I
I know.
think every guest had something that I learned or that I really liked and
Hmm.
I pondered.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, it would take too long for me to go through every episode, but
Right.
I just in general, I learned a lot when we did the episode where it was about how everything we did was being watched with and recorded,
Mm.
right?
Right.
Everywhere you go online, you're constantly being sold to. I think it
Right.
might have been the minimalism
Yeah.
episode because we watched the film
Hmm.
on minimalism. And when you realize that they know everything about you, I mean, I think we all
Yeah.
realize that if you're online, we all realize it because of the
Right.
ads we get and they're even listening on your phone if you have it.
Right.
So that was kind of, I mean, I kind of knew it, but
Hmm.
it was really maddening, I would say,
Hmm.
when I really focused in on it from that
Yeah.
film that we watched. Well, I don't know if you
Right.
call it a film anymore. What is it?
A video?
Documentary.
A
Documentary.
documentary. Yeah.
It's
A
not on
video
film
documentary.
anymore.
Yes. Right. Right. Okay. That's very true. There was just such rich content everywhere. There was, or I don't know, maybe not rich content all the time, but certainly so many things to ponder. Like you said, so many things to ponder. And actually, I think there were some things that were very interesting that I hadn't thought of at all before. So, mhm.
Like,
Well, just like that intentional singleness comes to mind, right? Just focusing on the Lord, focusing on what your relationship with him is. And I also think of, the episodes with Marianne too. Just that getting closer to the Lord, that putting him in the forefront of what you're trying to do. And everything else will come on. Well, what is that verse, Ellie? Put him first, and everything else will be added
but
unto
seek
you,
ye
right?
first his
Seek ye
kingdom and
first
his
the kingdom.
righteousness,
That's
and
right.
all
Yeah.
these things shall be added
Yeah.
unto you. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. This is my cue. What is your favorite episode or episodes?
Yeah, this was a hard one because you, is it like the topic? Am I going by the topic? Am I going by what I learned the most? So I decided I would just go by the ones that personally I was passionate about, that I'm in my coaching life passionate about. And so the ones that I would say are my favorite for that reason, and even though I kind of wince a little bit about saying they're my favorite, is episode 11, which was how the top five regrets of the dying can bless the living, and episode 23, which was what is Christian longevity? Can you live an active, healthy life through old age? The article and the book that Bronnie Ware wrote about the top five regrets of the dying really affected me some years ago.
Mhm.
And that affects the purpose of this podcast, which is we all are in the last third of our life.
Mhm.
And do we want to come into that regretting all the stuff we didn't do because we only had one life?
Mhm.
It really put a fire in me to really want to get that message out to our sisters. Come
Mhm.
on,
Yeah.
look at your life. What does God want you to do with it? Don't wait anymore because you don't have the time to wait anymore. And
Mhm.
now, the wisdom that you didn't have, the experience you didn't have, the first two-thirds of your life, you've got it now.
Mhm.
So, what does God want you to do? And then, same thing with the Christian longevity. It's really about being a good steward of your life so you can serve God without regret in the last part of your life when you have the most to give and have the most wisdom, all those things. So,
Mhm.
that's why I picked those two.
Hmm.
Do you have any favorite episodes?
No, I wouldn't say that I have a favorite episode, but I do like the one of the episodes actually that I enjoyed speaking with you. And these are ones that we developed ourselves, and that was that episode 5, the feeling confident after 50. And I liked doing that because I think it's really important because it kind of piggybacks onto everything else. If you don't have the confidence, you're not going to step forward. You're not going to join
Mhm.
community. You're not, if you're not successful in some way, if you don't have a little bit of success, then it can be difficult getting started. And I think it just threads through our life. We're called to be courageous. We're called to not be afraid. We're called to step forward. And I think that we have to be intentional about confidence. We have to be intentional. And building us up a community certainly supports our confidence. And there's many of us, I think, that walk around and don't feel that way at certain times. But now is the time. Now is the call. Now is the time for us to rise up and for us to really start thinking about how we can, even if it's baby steps, do things well and reach out to each other and invest in each other because those are the important things and those are the things that are going to matter when we
Right.
look back at our life,
What's
right?
going to count for eternity?
Exactly what's going to count. Yeah.
Amen.
Mm.
Okay, so what do you look forward to seeing or doing on the podcast? Reveal some.
Well, yeah, we don't want to reveal too much, but we want to entice you a little bit. Right. Well, you and I have talked about some things that we were definitely going to pursue. And and one of those things was to build more community and to perhaps have, like we were both talking here, about having an online group and maybe doing some kind of a study together or something like that. And getting our sisters stirred up about sharing with each other and stirred up about making their own communities, those sort of things. And I know that we have other plans as well, but tell us some more about that, Ellie.
Well, we are going to continue with the listener spotlights. We
Yep.
have some sisters that are going to be coming on, and I really want to encourage any of my sisters listening. Everybody has something that they can share.
Right.
And it really connects us when we share our life stories.
Mhm.
So please contact us at support@JesusPeopleSisterhood.com
Right.
if you would be interested in sharing your testimony. And the
Mhm.
testimony doesn't necessarily have to be how you came to know Jesus, because I know there's some people who maybe came to know him at an early age and grew up in the church and they don't have a specific moment that they can
Right.
point to.
Mhm.
But you have other life stories that you can share, other testimonies that you can give.
Mhm.
And we would just love for you to come on and that all of us can get to know each other. And again, to build community, we need
Right.
each other.
Mhm.
So we're going to have some of that. We
Mhm.
are going to be doing an episode coming up really quick on atomic habits, which is going to
Mhm.
be really difficult. I wanted to do it for some time, but
Mhm.
like every page of that book, I something that I want to share. So we're trying to do like a kind of condensed version of that for an episode, but we are thinking of doing a group, kind of a group book discussion
Mhm.
thing on it
Right.
because James Clear just kind of gleaned. information from other habit experts and
Right.
put it in that book with lots of stories and examples that we can use practical steps of walking the Christian life of pursuing whatever God's calling is for you
Mhm.
and and just benefiting your life so that you can bless others,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
By the power of habits. Okay.
Mhm. And in the far, far future, we were thinking of, well, maybe not far, far future, maybe not so far future, of maybe meetups or times that we can gather together and we can do those sort of things. And the atomic habits was something that I just love that Ellie was thinking of doing because it's that building of the confidence and bringing together the sisters so that we can benefit each other. And that's just so important. So yeah. I think that there's some good things, and if you have, like Ellie, you said, Ellie, if you have any other ideas that you want to forward, we are more than willing to take a look at that as well, right? Yeah.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you, our listeners,
Hmm.
and let us know what things you would find helpful.
Right.
And so if we get enough requests for certain topics, we can really try and find those.
Hmm.
And we'll have guests, we'll have some returning guests, and
Hmm. That's right.
yes, I'm sure.
Hmm.
So,
All right. Well, so we want to thank all of our listeners for supporting us this past year. We look forward to seeing the Lord work through this podcast in the coming year and maybe have the opportunity to meet some of you in person. And so we say,
yeah.
blessings to you all. Yeah.
God bless. Thank you, listeners.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please share any thoughts that resonated with you from today's podcast episode in our private Facebook group at Jesus People Sisterhood Community. Start reaching out to other single women and create your local group of Jesus People Sisters. Please let us know about your group to add to our directory by contacting us at support@JesusPeopleSisterhood.com.
Have you had a good experience with a business? They've treated you honestly and helped you at a reasonable price? Please let us know. We would like to start a directory of JPS-friendly businesses. Let's care for one another.
Be blessed by him who is able to protect you from stumbling and to make you stand in the presence of his glory, blameless and with great joy. Until next time.
Hey, sister, before you go, thank you for listening. If you found value in today's podcast, the best way to say thank you is by leaving a 5-star written review at Apple Podcasts. That raises us in the rankings and helps other sisters find us too. And please tell a friend or post it on your social media. If you're a single Christian woman over 50, this podcast was created specifically for you. The Jesus People Sisterhood is your community to find support and friendship with other sisters who can understand. Be sure to follow us on your podcast app and join our free private Facebook group at Jesus People Sisterhood Community.
Jesus People Sisterhood has also started a private Facebook group for housing and co-living opportunities. You can check that out at Jesus People Sisterhood Senior Housing. You can also find us on Facebook at Jesus People Sisterhood and individually for Janine at riseupcoachingandconsulting.com and for Ellie at samaramountain.com. And ladies, this is the necessary disclaimer. Our podcast content is for informational purposes and does not constitute professional advice for mental health, medical, legal, financial, or other areas. The opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host. It is our heart that this podcast will be a blessing to you. Together, let's build a powerful sisterhood with Jesus. Make a friend, add a sister, across the border and around the world.